Hello and welcome to the program. Get out of your mind. Now that's something that most of us would be careful about, but Adila Vahed is here, author of the book, and we're going to find out more. Adila, welcome to the program.
Assalamu alaikum, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Now normally for me to understand the book and to look into your book, which we are going to in a moment, we sort of need to understand Adila. Who is Adila?
I would say I am a very passionate, dedicated, and most people say efficient young lady. The book is just something that has recently happened. So apart from that, I've always been very passionate about anything that I wish to pursue in life, and I'm very committed to anything that I take on. So if I had to best describe myself, a dedicated young individual.
Now we can see that obviously authoring a book is not something that everybody is going to do. Where did it all start?
Well, it all started with me penning down my thoughts over the past 4 years of my life. So through each challenge that I had ever been faced with, I would basically go into the diary and write down thoughts and then do a lot of research and reading into how can I manage the current situation of my life. And I've always been a book lover, very passionate about reading, and I've got a very nice library of interesting books, more self-help. So instead of going out there and blaming things, I always took responsibility for myself. And so then the writing happened.
Adila, writing a book is not something that everyone is going to do. That's going beyond the scope of what normal people do. How did that all start?
Okay, well, firstly, I agree with you because almost everybody can't wait to get out of school so that we can put the pens down, or out of your tertiary education and not open a book or not read a book or not get involved in that way. But I have always been an avid book reader. I love reading. I'm very passionate about reading. But also when it comes to writing, I feel that the best way in order for me to express myself is by writing. And based on the challenges that I faced over a period of time in my life, I've always decided to pen those thoughts and then do research whilst I'm penning those thoughts, and then ask questions and answers and do a lot of self-introspection, but on paper. And it's been 4 years later, and an opportunity posed where I actually decided to put that into birth of an actual book. So,
like I mentioned, it's not something that's very easy to do. Before we go into the content itself, what are some of the challenges you faced during the writing process itself?
I think the biggest challenge for me was, what are people going to say when they read this? What do I want? What difference do I want to make to the person that's going to read it? And then a lot of things I would write down and actually retract and say, okay, that can't go in and this can go in. So it's more on what impact would I create on someone else's life when I was writing, because the book is focused on each individual and how best it can assist them. So the greatest challenge was having the right time, obviously, to sit down and pen those thoughts, but also saying, okay, hold on, is this good or is this bad for the person that's going to be reading it? So for me, that was the challenge.
You've got an interesting title, Get Out of Your Mind, and I noticed that you've got 7 steps to creating long-term success and lifelong fulfillment. When you spoke about writing a book, most people would think along the lines of authoring something like a Harry Potter story or something of that nature. But this is intricate content.
Yes, it is.
What inspired that aspect?
As I said a few minutes ago, I've been through challenges in my life, right? And then I needed a get out of your mind to help me at that time. And then speaking about the title of the book, within the confinement of the mind, yours and mine both, there's a lot of chaos that happens. There's a lot of chatter of the brain that goes on, where there's a voice inside you that actually speaks to you, which you think is you, that you create an identity with, and then that kind of manifests or helps you create the life that you live. And so I realized that the day I got out of my mind and took control of it, that's the day all of the problems started to find its own resolution. And so that inspired the name Get Out of Your Mind. 7 steps to creating fulfillment and success. It's basically 7 chapters of the book touching on different topics that has to do with the mind that you could basically understand and hopefully get out of.
I have a feeling when you say get out of your mind, this is something to do with getting out of the box, thinking out of the box, and approaching things in a different way and not the conventional way. Is that who you're targeting as an audience?
I'm targeting every individual that needs to realize the magnificence of their existence And I think each one of us are caught up in human drama in this world because we believe, okay, we're human and we need to act out a specific role as a mother, as a daughter, as a sister, as a wife or husband, etc., for in the sense of a male. However, what the book teaches you is that you do not need to get caught up in the drama, but rise above it and understand your significance and magnificence of being a soul. And when you understand the magnificence of being a soul, then you are able to find a certain sort of peace within yourself, which will enable you to handle any situation that life throws at you, and then you'll be able to handle it in the human form. So that's what the book is actually for. It's for anybody that wishes to understand their own mind and realize the capability of themselves.
Now you speak about 7 steps. Take us through 1 or 2 of them that might be sort of the highlight ones.
The highlight for me is gratitude. I have an entire chapter on gratitude itself and the fact that complaint brings misery and lack of into your life. So the more you complain, you are opening yourself up for more negativity coming into your life. And then I teach you that you cannot blame other people and things for everything that is happening to you in your life. So the first step is gratitude. And there is a detox exercise in that book that teaches you how to become somebody that's more grateful and more appreciative and less of a complainer. And once you're able to do that, you'll see different things happening in your life where all of a sudden all of the problems that you have disappear and you'll think, okay, is this magic or what? But it's actually your own self that has rid the discord out of your life by changing your approach towards the life that you live.
I notice you mentioned rid yourself of being a complainer. I'm sure there's many husbands out there that's buying the book for their wives.
Well, I would like to think so. A lot of women have bought the book and the feedback has been great, and it's really been pleasant for me to hear women saying, listen, I've tried your 45-day detox, complaint detox, and I've become less of a complainer. And the thing is, it's not only about a relationship, but in every aspect of your life, because you're going to be so busy being grateful for what you have that there's going to be no time to complain. And the more you appreciate something, the less you complain. And that's just one chapter. The other chapters involve the ego, understanding the ego and the role that it plays in your life. There's also a chapter on fear and the way fear controls all of the things that we do in our life, in every aspect or any aspect. And then I touch on business, entrepreneurship, even women that are at home and are housewives, and how fear can affect and understanding fear can actually change their lives. So it's a lot of introspection. It goes into, it explores, the book explores the mind and then the emotions attached to the different aspect of it.
Some of these things are sort of, in a way, I wouldn't say mind-boggling, but they are not the run-of-the-mill type of content. And I want you to give me a pragmatic approach to your writing the book. Do you sit there at night thinking about, this is happening to me, I think this is the solution, I need to put that in the book? Do you consult other people, for example? But putting this together is no easy task. I can see that.
Well, look, for those that have read it, they ask me, so how old can you be, or do you need to be to read the book? And a lady had bought it for her 14-year-old. So it's, if you read it, you're going to see, okay, this is plain and simple English. There's nothing complicated about it. I understand what Adila is saying in the book, and she's saying, understand who you are. So how do I do that? And then there's techniques that I provide. So I've asked myself the exact same questions that I would ask you, the reader, and then that's how the answers came through. And it's simple things. Name the 3 things that you're grateful for in life, or what is it that you are emotionally attached to, that if you had to let go of it, what would happen to you? So it's very well explained in detail, and then everything that has been written there has been a practice of mine over a period of time. So I feel confident and safe enough to put it out there because I've done it. I've seen what it's done for me in my life through the difficulties that I've experienced. I've seen the change come about, and it's the realization that all responsibility lies with you.
You know, there's an old saying that says that for us to understand what we do have, we need to look at those that don't have. Are those some of the tenets that come through in the book itself?
Well, yes and no, because it's easy to say that. Oh, there's people that are less fortunate than us, but you will never be able to truly understand it unless you experience it. So a lot of the elements has been my own life experiences in every aspect, lack of. And then I ask myself, okay, I've been blaming this, this, and this, a lot of external conditions for it. And then it lends to the question as to who is to be blamed here. So when you look at yourself and say, what needs to change within me? Do I need to change physically to change my situation? Do I need to change outer appearances? Then you come to the realization that it's internal change that needs to take place. And I always say this, unless and until you make a decision to say that I wish to change who I am at the deepest core of my existence, and that is your mind. And beyond that is your soul, understanding your purpose here. Then you kind of work from there going forward. And then you come to the end and you realize that you're nothing. We actually all nothing. And once you get to that realization of your nothingness, being nothing is still something. And it sounds very complicated as I explain it, but like I say, and people have say, okay, when you speak, okay, I understand, but I don't understand. How better can I understand it? And then I'll say, okay, read the book. And then the feedback is, okay, I understand completely now. And then if you don't, then I'll tell you, please read chapter 1 at least 3 times. It's on gratitude. Because once you pass that, every other chapter unfolds and becomes very easy.
Now, you seem to be a central character in the book itself in terms of your thoughts and philosophies.
Right.
Are there other people in your life that you sort of drew from to get to the conclusions that you have?
They are my grandfather.
From a positive point of view and a negative point of view.
Right, my grandfather, both my parents, specifically because I've read books over a period of time, and I've read different authors on the same thing about the mind and taking control, and everyone said the same thing. And then I looked to my parents and I looked to my grandfather, and everything that I've been reading, they are living. So I said, okay, hold on, let's go and take this one step further. And then I sat with them personally. I sat with my grandfather over a period of time trying to understand how he has gone to where he is right now in his life, based on what and on what principles. And for him, he says, it's just who I am. It's just my personality. But if he only understands that he is living something that is very difficult for many others, and that's why he's reached the stage that he's reached. And I feel like I've also been inspired by that. So it was always in me, but I never allowed consciousness or awareness to it. And now I've decided I want to become aware and more conscious of these things, and those are the elements of the mind, the body, the emotions, taking control, taking responsibility, changing external results. And I can tell you one thing, you can change any external situation in your reality of your life, in any aspect whatsoever, with your own hands, in any way possible.
I noticed, and that brings me to the thought about entrepreneurs, and I see you've got a focus on them, and you've got advice for them, and you've got stories for them. Tell me a bit about that component.
Okay, in the book, I've interviewed successful leaders from South Africa, and these are CEOs of big companies that are established over a period of time, because we still aspire towards that, right? And then I asked them very critical questions. What type of mindset do you have? What advice do you have to offer to young entrepreneurs? And all that wealth of information can be taken and utilized constructively by entrepreneurs. But my focus, yes, is on people that wish to pursue and equipping them with the tools that they require in order to achieve those levels of success. And then I always ask, what is your definition of success? Because for many people it's wealth, it's money, and for many others it's self-development, and for many others it's a combination of both. So it's equipping you to say, listen, you have what it takes. You may not have the financial backing, you may not have the resources that you require in order to get there, but if you have the correct mindset, everything that you require will come to you without your interference.
Of course, if I was a viewer sitting at home and listening to this interview and asking a question, and that is, I've got some problems in my life like everyone else, and everyone's got this and that happening in their life, and they get busy with their own thing that they're doing, and many things pass them by, and life continues to go, maybe not in the fashion that they want life to go. Picking up this book, reading it, what effective changes will they see in their lives?
Firstly, they'll learn how to become more appreciative. So yes, you have 3 difficulties, but you have 7 things to be grateful for, like the fact that you wake up and you can see, eat, smell, hear. You have hot water when you have a bath. So those are the simple things. Okay, I need to be grateful for these little things. Yes, I have this financial problem. Yes, I have this relationship issue, but I have shelter. I have transport. I have a basic salary, or I have food for that matter. So if there's nothing else that you learn from the book, you learn appreciation. And the beauty is that once you have appreciation, you'll find abundance flow into your life, because that's the fundamental in life, that appreciate what you have in order to receive more, but not for that reason only. Appreciate it because it's your thankfulness to your creator. And once you've established that, and if you've learned nothing else, that's sufficient, because that will
Spring off to other
spring
thoughts.
off to every other thought in your life. So whenever there's negative, you must remember, okay, negative does not serve me. Negative is going to do nothing for me right now besides bring more of it. So gratefulness is going to bring more of it. So it's in your hands ultimately to decide what you'd like. But if there's one thing you would learn, and like I say, read chapter 1 3 times. If you don't want to read the rest of the book, it's fine. And learn the essence of gratitude, where gratitude becomes the memory of the heart.
I noticed that you have an endorsement by Raymond Arden and the New York Times best-selling author. He's a New York Times best-selling author. What's the relationship like there? How did that all come about? Who are some of the people that helped you put this together?
Okay, well, I attended a summit in February this year, actually. So I never planned on launching a book this year at all, or even last year for that matter.
That's a very short time, actually.
It is a very short time, but like I said, I've been penning thoughts for a period of 3 to 4 years, but that's based on your own life and based on your own experience.
So there has been some manuscripts that you've been putting together.
It's just lots of notes and lots of books of writing.
No, that's unusual for most people too.
It's not.
I mean, the most I keep is my diary.
There's no order. There's no order whatsoever. It's normal hardcover books with lots of notes, and it's dated. Every single day is dated, with first beginning with gratitude for everything, and then going into problems, and then going into questioning the mind, and then going into emotions and a whole lot of different things. And then feeling better when you're done, to say, I've taken control of the situation. Because if I'm like really angry, I'll say, how do I feel right now? And you write down all those thoughts of anger.
And you've been doing this for a while.
I've been doing this for a while. How do I feel right now? And write anger, resentment, whatever it is. Who am I feeling it towards? And then I ask myself, what good will it do for me right now? And then you realize the stupidity of the self and say, who's actually controlling who here? And then all of that happened. So in February, I attended a summit in Johannesburg, and there were international speakers there. And I walked in there saying that something's going to happen in the 2 days that I'm here, and it's going to make a very big difference, not to my life, but to many other people's life. Because I always believe that it's not about how many gets you have in life, it's about how many gives you have. So you have a box of gets and gives, and the more you give brings more abundance into your life. If you have more gets, then you have a huge problem in your hands. And so
I just share the same philosophy.
Yeah,
I'm actually a bit aggro, sorry to stop you. I'm a bit aggro when it comes to people that only see what they can get out of other people. And when you ask them what they're giving, or you see them not giving, that actually irritates me.
I say that we are not receptacles, we are conduits. So if things come to you, whatever it may be, whether it's wealth, whether it's abundance in whichever aspect, even health for that matter, it's coming to you to go through you for it to pass on to the next person. But if you're going to believe you're a receptacle and keep everything here, you're actually not allowing for any more to come to you, because you will never get anything more of anything for that matter unless you're able to pass it on. So I stick to that philosophy. And another example is a door. If you had to open a door, and depending on how much you've opened the door and the amount of space that you've left for either someone to walk in or someone to walk out, that's exactly the equal amount that you'll receive. So to however far you open the door, whether it's charity, whether it's love, whether it's whichever aspect of your life, that's the exact amount that you're going to get back. So you decide how far wide you'd like to open that door, which comes back to Raymond Arden. So I said, okay, fine, something is good is going to happen here, but your most important thing is intention. So what is your intention? My intention was not, oh, I'm going to gain something here and it's going to change my life and me. It was something's going to happen over the next 2 days that's going to change many people's lives. But it's going to happen through me. right? And then I met him and we spoke, and he's an author and he was on stage and he spoke about the books that he's written over the years of his life, how it's helped his life, and his best-selling books and things like that. And then I approached him thereafter and said, listen, I want to write a book. Will you publish it for me? And he's like, have you already written? You want to write? I said, no, I have written. Okay, which I have written, but not an actual, it hadn't been...
not in the form of a book,
yeah, it hasn't been laid out. So he said, okay, laughed it off, said, let's see how serious we are about this, sent something through, and he handed me over to an assistant. It took me about 3 months or so to kind of make sense of everything, put it into chapters and create a proper manuscript, and I sent it through and it was approved.
And that's
so it was approved. He then asked for it to go to an editor, and it was very small errors, grammar errors and things like correcting.
But that's the normal process of a book in any case. Yeah.
But the content wasn't changed, because I think the one thing that was appreciated is that it was simplified, very easy to be read and understood and implemented in one's own life. So you don't have to have any particular qualification to understand the book, or be extremely intelligent to be able to relate to it. And so from there, apart from just publishing it, he also did the foreword for me. And it
was a good thing.
That was a great thing, I think.
Now, we're coming to the end of the interview, but there's something that concerns me all the time during the interview. And that was, I'm trying to work out if this is how the book was put together, the parallel for you. For example, I know that these are your thoughts, but is there a parallel between you as Adila and your experiences, and then having experiences today that goes a certain way, and you then referring yourself back to the book? Because sometimes when we have philosophy, it's one thing, but the implementation of that, being able to tell other people about the philosophy is one thing. Because I also go out and I tell people, oh, you know what, you don't need to stress, it's fine, you know, stress is going to kill you. But tonight I'll be stressing again on my own. So I know that's going to happen. How do you draw that balance with the book, yourself, and the relation with the book as you, as the author, and an outsider to the book?
Okay, well, I've been living the values of the book over a period of time, unconsciously, in order to cope with things that I've had to deal with, which I still deal with. We all do. Everyone has challenges.
But you need to bring yourself back sometime to the book?
Yes, I read it all the time. See, people, a few readers have said, and even I say, I keep a copy with me all the time, because I need to refer back to it, because I'm human. I may have written.
So although you authored it, you sort of go...
I may have written it, but we're human, and as long as we have taken a human form, you play a role as a human. So you're going to get caught up in human drama. And I get caught up, and then I'm like, okay, hold on. A realization needs to happen. So the main thing for any individual, you or myself being the author, is that realization to say, hold on, what am I doing? Let me open the book, let me read whatever. Normally what I say is whichever page I open it to is going to be for me to learn something from, and that's what I need to implement immediately. And it always happens that I open it on a page that's very relevant to what's happening in my life. And a lot of people would say the same thing. So yes, I'm not the perfect person. You may read the book and get this impression that, wow, Adila probably lives her life like an angel. I'm faced with situations all the time. But how do you handle the situation? And then you might go into a negative thought. That's fine. It's okay to go into a negative thought, but not without realizing and identifying. So it's a different level of consciousness. It's called conscious consciousness. Normally we are all unconsciously unconscious. So it's going to a higher level of consciousness to say it's okay to drop the ball, but it's as long as it comes with the realization that, hey, I'm doing something wrong, something needs to be done differently, and then you divert onto where you need to.
I think that's an interesting way that you put that, and I think your perspective on the balance between you as Adila, the author, and the book is an interesting balance in the first place. Just going one step forward, the book's availability and the launches in certain cities, a quick one on that.
Okay, well, we've done Durban. I've spoken at several events in Durban. The book is available at the Al Ansar bookshop in Durban, at Adams in Musgrave Centre, as well as the IPCI bookstore in town. And very soon, next month, inshallah, there will be a book launch officially in Cape Town. There is a new library that's opening up in Cape Town, the Islamic Library, and the book launch will be taking place there. More information can be found on my website, which is adiva.com. As well as Johannesburg, but there will be information put out there on Facebook and several other media platforms for those interviews. And then hopefully we will be getting the books into bookstores, one in Cape Town, one or two in Cape Town, and inshallah in Johannesburg.
Anything for the future that you have in mind?
I'd like
Have you started stashing away some more papers?
Yeah, but now I will be writing. I definitely wish to publish a few more books, but for example, my background or my profession is event management. So I want to write a book on event management or on
And some of the rules and that sort of
yes,
thing.
everything that an entrepreneur needs to know about it, because we may know as much as we know, but there's still generations that are forthcoming that are going to get into the different industries, and they're going to need something to say, okay, the do's and don'ts of marketing, or what will work in a business. I've run a business for 3 years now, and I know what hasn't worked. So it's just knowledge that's going to help somebody else's life, and not just another story, like you said, a Harry Potter story, but something a little bit more based on our experience. I mean, look at our elders. If we want to learn anything, we normally go and have a chat with them and say, tell us, about life. And they'll say, do this, don't do that. Now we're experiencing it. And the best way to do it is to share it with others. And I can't think of any other better way than in a book. And obviously for all those that don't like to read, we kind of need to find something to motivate them towards opening up a book.
Adila, in conclusion, I think it's been a great interview, and I'm definitely going to dig my mind into this one because I find that interesting. One piece of advice for our young writers out there.
I think be as natural as possible, if I had to say. Don't think too much into if this is going to be bad or good for you, and always write down thoughts. Even if you don't know you're going to be a writer someday, like I didn't know, I had no idea. It's very, very healthy to pen down thoughts and do it for as long as possible and share it with other people. If you feel comfortable with sharing with other people and get their kind of feedback on the things that you're writing, and mostly be comfortable and be in the right mindset when you're writing. So first you need to read, get out of your mind, create the right mindset, and every time you're ready to write, just prepare yourself on all levels, emotionally, physically, and mentally, and then get into it.
Adila, thank you for joining us. The next time Mama this is Are You Out of Your Mind, I'm going to be thinking about you. Thank you for joining us. Adila Vahed with her latest book, Get Out of Your Mind. It's on the shelves right now. For more information, visit her website, details on the screen. Visit my website, we'll have a write-up on there at FaizalSayed.com. Until next time, thank you for joining us. Goodbye.